Howdy, folks. So in this video, we'll look at something where like a combination of Power Apps and Power BI really shines, and both of them together make something called from insights to action really possible. Uh, Now, especially if you're coming from a Dynamics 365 CE background, or you're building model-driven apps, etc., you know about dashboards that exist in those products. Those dashboards are very simple. They're good enough for giving you some high level information about certain things, but they don't give you the ability to slice and dice, etc. And that's where Power BI comes in, right? And for people like us who come from a Dynamics 365 background, our problem in life is that we have made Power BI as a replacement tool for Dynamics 365 dashboards. Okay, so Power BI somehow has become a glorified like a dashboard replacement solution, but that's not what it really is. We tend to create all sorts of like visualizations in it, and what we hear from customers is that even that is not sufficient, because what they're looking for is not just a bunch of charts and tables, right? They're looking for a way to identify problems and then also solve them as soon as possible. Because think about it, if especially if you're in a industry where you have a lot of competition, there's like real-time pressure on performance and making things move and selling on a daily basis and in a very high volume capacity. If you're not performing well and if things are going down, you would want those things to get fixed as soon as possible. And that's why for a lot of us who come from a Dynamics 365 background, our mindset needs to change. So we're not really building dashboards for customers. We're building a solution and experience where we help them identify problems and then also help them take a course of action, which will help them eliminate or alleviate something that's going bad, and then make those bad things become good. Anyway, so what I want to show you is something where Power Apps and Power BI combined together, they can provide a solution where from insights you take actions, right? So that's one thing I want to show. And the second thing through this mode I want to show is perhaps my favorite Power BI visualization so far. It's called Decomposition Tree, and the one that you'll see on my left here. That's what that is, and what that really does is it's a pretty cool, and really it's cool, but also useful. What it does is it helps you find the root cause of something. Okay, so if you're looking at a certain something, whether it's sales, or whether it's some sort of quantity, and you want to know what really affects that number, that's where this visualization called Decomposition Tree really comes and shines. And because it shows you what are the factors that are really responsible for the up and down of something. So in my example here, and I'm going to just jump into it now after my blabbering. So in this example here, what we are looking at is, I have some dummy data here. These are video game sales globally. Okay. Think of it as GameStop. We are perhaps GameStop. We sell video games from many publishers of, over many platforms of many genres, etc. And we want to really see which games are the top hits and which ones are not. So what you see on the left here, my left, is, so we're looking at global sales, right? And we want to identify for each publisher, each genre, each platform, what games shine, which ones don't. So for example, here, what we are looking at is the one that's already selected, is that for electronic arts in the genre of sports for PS2, Madden NFL 2004 is the one that's bringing us most revenue. It's 5.23 million. Whereas if you look at games at the bottom here, like FIFA Soccer 2003, Football 06, etc., these are not performing so well. Similarly, if I want to look at, let's say, Ubisoft, we've played some Ubisoft games, right? So for Ubisoft, in the sports category. Apparently, sports is not doing very well. Action is where the magic's at. So in the sports category, and I did click it, trust me, for let's say PS3, which games are the top selling? Apparently, Sean White snowboarding is the top seller, and then Rugby World 2015 not so much, right? So this is where clearly with some simple clicks what we are doing is we're analyzing what's really affecting global sales. There are certain things that are, or certain games that are performing extremely well, but then there are these other ones like Surf's Up and Rugby World Cup 2011 and whatnot, or 2015. No one wants to buy them. So what should we do about these games? Now, if we didn't have Power Apps, or if we didn't have any other solution, traditionally, we would have looked at this, we would have identified the problem, but then now our next step would have been either going into Dynamics, or maybe sending someone an email, or maybe walking up to someone and saying, hey, what's up with Surf's Up? What should we do, or what can we do to increase the sales here? All of those things are not very easy to do, right? Because no one wants to log into Dynamics. It just doesn't happen naturally. People forget to send emails, or even if it requires you to walk up to someone, I mean, that in itself is a not so easy process, right? Because you get distracted, or you have to go to a meeting, or whatever else. But what if you had an option to actually take action right from here? So now that we've identified that Surf's Up for Ubisoft in the PS3 platform is the poorest performer, I, as perhaps the owner of the company, want to take some action. So here's what I can do. If I just click on this bar right here, what you'll notice to the right is that the app, which is a Power App, it actually is running in context of the decomposition tree to the left, right? So as I select it, that same option, that same game gets highlighted in the app as well. Now, from here, what I can do is, if I go to the next screen here, I can start some sort of an action plan, right? So maybe there is a process set up already where if I check this button, a series of things happen in the background. So I don't need to open Dynamics. I don't need to open my Outlook and send an email. I don't need to set up a meeting or anything like that. All the automation is done for me behind the scenes already. And all I have to do is click this button. And also, maybe right from here, I want to send a message to Gary Barlow, who happens to be the division head. And I want to say, hey, let's fix Surf's Up, right? And something like that. And then just hit send. And there you have it, right? So right from my Power BI report or dashboard, I not only identified the problem that I have, but also I started an action plan so that we immediately start fixing this, right? So this is where the combination of Power Apps and Power BI really shines. And again, it's not just about creating different solutions in Power Apps and Power BI. Don't consider these as a Power BI solution or a Power App solution. What we are really doing is it's an amalgamation of two different products, but in the end, it's an experience for the end user, right? So whether I'm a sales manager or the CEO of a company or whoever, as I identify something, I do want to take action as well. And that's what this solution enables me to do. So as you build your solutions, think about the amalgamation of all these different Power Platform components, right? So it's not just about creating a dashboard. It's not just about creating an app, but how can we combine all of these together and provide an exceptional experience for the end user so that they not only are identifying problems, but also taking action immediately. All right. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, let me know. Bye-bye.